The breeze has come up and the temperatures are dropping at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, but the action on track is about to heat up as we bring you the second of two great sports car races from Northern California here on Fox Sports 1. When you combine the world's most pulse racing sports cars with an array of motor racing's finest drivers on some of the sport's greatest circuits, you have the formula for the TUDOR United SportsCar Championship.
As a driver, you want to be in the best car on the best tracks. It's an incredibly exciting time for sports cars.
2014 started at the Rolex 24 in Daytona. Intensified at the Mobil 1 12 Hours of Sebring. Oh, no, you could see that coming. The most recent event featured domination by Ford and Chevy at Long Beach.
Scott Pruitt, Memo Rojas, Ford EcoBoost, and Corvette celebrate victory at Long Beach.
In the prototype class in SoCal, Scott Pruitt held off Jordan Taylor for Ganassi Racing's second win in a row. Can he and co-driver Memo Rojas get the hat trick? Rolex 24 winners JOAO Barbosa and Christian Fittipaldi and a host of other teams will try to prevent that. Corvette Racing scored a huge GT class win at Long Beach, landing squarely in the middle of 8 teams covered by just 9 points. Can Jan Magnussen and Antonio Garcia repeat for Corvette as Porsche went back-to-back to start the season? Or will championship leaders Andy Prix and Bill Auberlen earn BMW's first win and stay on top? The stage for season round 4 is Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca in Monterey, California, home to the iconic corkscrew turn. What new racing history will be written today? Find out right now on Fox Sports 1. We are live on California's beautiful Monterey Peninsula for the second half of a sports car doubleheader. Welcome to the Continental Tire Monterey Grand Prix, powered by Mazda. Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca is now in its 6th decade of bringing race fans history on the track. And today, it offers something unique and new, a sports car doubleheader featuring the TUDOR United SportsCar Championship. We are less than 13 minutes away from the green flag as we welcome you back live to Monterey. Hi, everybody. I'm Bob Varsha. The TUDOR United SportsCar Championship brought together not only two great racing series, the former Grand Am Rolex Sports Car Championship and the American Le Mans Series presented by Tequila Patron. It also brought together two very different rule books, and the challenge in this early season has been to equalize the performance of the cars so that every competitor has a shot at a race win. Now, as we look at the championship in the prototype ranks, you will see that although the points are very close, the first 3 races have been won by the former Grand Am Daytona prototype teams. That would suggest the balance of performance tips in that direction. But after a few minor adjustments, the teams rolled out here at Mazda Raceway, and the former LMP2 cars from the ALMS have taken 3 of the top 5 spots on the starting grid. Will this be the day that a P2 car breaks through for victory in the TUDOR Series? Well, we're about to find out. And we should point out that if this were a doubleheader in the baseball sense, you'd see the same teams over again. But as the PC cars and the GT Daytona machines ran this morning, it's now time to roll out the heavy hitters of prototype and the factory GT Le Mans teams. With that, I turn to my colleagues, Calvin Fish and Dorsey Schrader, who won races here before at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. Putting technology aside, Calvin, the real challenge these teams face probably is the fact that this is not an endurance race in the truest sense. It's a 2-hour sprint on a very difficult racetrack.
It is a tough track, Bob. I'm going to be fascinated to see how the first few corners and the first lap of this race pans out. The reason being is not all of these prototype teams employ 2 pro drivers. Case in point, at Long Beach, we had the car of number 60, the Mike Schenck Racing entry Ford, qualified by Oz Negri on the front row as his teammate John Pugh took the car to the green flag. Now, John's a great driver, but he does not have the experience level of the rest of the field. He was well and truly roughed up going down into turn 1. It wasn't pretty. Today, the pole-sitting car, the ESM entry, the Patron car, was qualified on the pole by Johannes van Overbeek. Today, as his teammate Dorsey, Ed Brown, he's in a similar situation. A lot of pressure on that driver right now to make it clean through this first lap today.
Well, you take that same scenario, apply it to this racetrack, a racetrack where we know the infield is very slippery, tough racing here. Also, a racetrack that's very difficult to pass on. Everybody goes for track position here, and what's it mean? It means pretty much a no holds barred. You got to go for it here. You better keep your guard up.
Well, let's meet some of the key players, beginning with our pole sitters. Here's Jamie Howe in the pit lane.
Johannes van Overbeek not only claimed the first pole position for a P2 car, but he did it on his home track. He lives so close to the circuit, San Jose. It's 90 miles away, but he rode his bike to get down here for the race week. So lots of friends and family here on site. Johannes, it's exciting for you, but your co-driver, Ed Brown, he's starting the race. What does he have to keep in mind as we go to green?
Ed's got to keep in mind not to freak out, and Ed's really calm under pressure, and as long as he does that today, we'll be fine. He just needs to look ahead, focus forward, try to keep as many guys behind him as he can, and we'll see what happens.
Ed told me he is up for that challenge. Another team up for that challenge is Ganassi. Brian Till?
And another California kid. Can I call you a kid, Scott Pruitt? Yeah, we'll go with that, right? So you and Memo looking for 3 in a row in that Ford EcoBoost, Riley, that you've got. But starting back in 7th, what do you guys need to do to make sure that you've got a car that you can finish with? It could be hectic up there in turn 1.
It's going to be very hectic, and you never know what's going to happen. But the Telstar car has been running good. We unfortunately didn't get a good warm-up this morning, as we saw a long red. I had my wife at home and also to my nephew over serving in Korea. And the biggest thing is we're taking a bit of a gamble on the setup. It's very similar to last year's setup, and hopeful, cool conditions, we're going to have a good car to move to the front.
Sun beginning to shine, so the track should get some temperature. They're looking to move forward. Bob?
The cars are in the pit lane. The command to start engines about to come. We will be back in a moment to Mazda Raceway.
This is a battle royale. Magnussen all over the rear bumper. Bergmeister having to drive a bit defensively. Look at this move!
I think it's going to work.
Man, this battle is intense.
Here comes Magnussen, run around the outside.
Oh, they bumped! Magnussen, he's not done. He's going to try the exit. Now he bumps him. Bergmeister drives him to the wall, and he crashes him big.
Oh, they're not going to like that one.
Bergmeister survives that battle.
Just one example of the action produced here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca over the years of sports cars racing here on the Monterey Peninsula. Now, while Jörg Bergmeister is not here this weekend, the other man involved in that contretemps, Jan Magnussen, is with Corvette Racing. Moments ago, our Jamie Howe spoke with him.
For the second race in a row, we have the number 3 Corvette at the front of the GTLM starting grid. At the last race in Long Beach, it was Jan Magnussen who claimed pole position. Here this weekend, it was Antonio Garcia. However, Jan Magnussen will be starting the race today. So Jan, it's a tough crowd, tough competition today. What are your expectations for the start of this race?
Well, hopefully we can have a similar race like we had in Long Beach with no safety cars. We can just run a race where we can run our own race and run to the strategy that we've picked.
Excitement and Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca are two things that have gone hand in hand for you. Back in 2009, it was quite an exciting finish to the checkered flag. What do you remember from the end of that race?
Well, it was, apart from the crash right here, it was a fantastic race up until then. We hadn't really touched each other until that point. It's a great race with Bergmeister, and it just ended really poorly. We've talked about it afterwards, and we both agree it was a great race, but not really the way to finish it.
Jörg Bergmeister is not here today, but there is a strong contingent of Porsches on the field. The quickest of those qualified third. That was Nick Tandy in the number 991.
That's right, Jimmy, and let's not forget, those are the new factory North America Porsches. The first time that the great German manufacturer has dedicated a factory team to North American racing here in the TUDOR United SportsCar Series. Checking the GTLM points, we thought prototype was close. How about this? A total of 14 drivers within 9 points. Bill Auberlen and Andy Prix for BMW haven't won a race yet, but there they are atop the standings by just 2 over the Porsche factory drivers, Nick Tandy and Richard Lees. And speaking of the BMW team, they drive for American motorsports legend Bobby Rahal. Brian Till is with them.
Bobby Rahal certainly knows how to win here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. He did it 4 times in a row starting in 1984. But Bobby, let's talk BMW right now. You guys lead team and drivers championship. Last year, everybody said this BMW was very raceable. It didn't qualify all that well. This year, we seem to have found speed in qualifying and the race. Can you put your finger on one thing that's made that difference?
Well, I think maybe, I mean, obviously there's little developments over the course of the off-season. Probably aero-wise, we're a little more efficient this year than we were last. We're still down on straight line speed, but this car's hallmark has always been its handling, and so add the efficiency aero-wise to the handling, and we're getting closer.
So on a low grip track like Mazda Raceway, that aero should be good.
Yeah, definitely, although, you know, here's where you really want a good handling car. This is a handling circuit, not a power circuit. So for us, yeah, we qualified second. We're having to drive hard to do that, but I think everybody else is too. All the other competitors are really putting on a great effort.
GTLM is awesome this year, and the BMW's certainly strong.
All right, thank you, Brian. Now, the stars may be on the track, but it may be the track itself that's the star of this 2-hour sprint about to unfold. Let's have a closer look at Mazda Raceway, Dorsey.
Well, Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca is on a Monterey Peninsula, sorry about that. And it's one of the best circuits in North America, known for its corkscrew, 2.238 miles in length, 11 corners, massive elevation change, and an infield that's sandy and slippery. It's a big challenge for the drivers.
That's our Mazda track map. And our thanks to Mazda for being great host this weekend, along with Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. Now let's talk about what it's going to take to do well here, Calvin. These are our Tudor keys to victory.
Well, the first is sandbox, Bob, and you want to stay out of it. You make a big mistake, get stuck in the sand, it will ruin your day here. Track position is key. It sounds obvious, but even more so here. It begins in qualifying. Teams put a lot of emphasis on their starting position here for the race. The reason being is there is room to race. Only 2 classes today, essentially pro classes. Very unlikely we'll see many cautions today.
Well, as we saw earlier today in the PC GTD race, that track narrows up in a hurry when you start going door to door. There's a look at some of the onboard cameras we'll be featuring today. Everybody moving side to side to get the traditional Laguna Seca sand off of the tires. And don't forget, you can get behind the wheel with some of your favorite drivers. It's the ultimate 2-screen experience. Go to foxsports.com/motor for live onboard video streams from today's race.
You see these drivers, Bob, really working the wheel. They try to generate some tire temperature. The conditions right now are probably cooler than we've seen all weekend long for this time of day. So there's some adjustments going to be needed here in these opening laps, Dorsey.
Stiff breeze out there bringing that sand up on the track. I would think this first lap to be really slippery.
Think about the pressure on Ed Brown. For the first time, starting from pole.
And a really tough turn 2 situation here, too. The best of the best wreck here.
And a very aggressive driver in Michael Valiante next door.
In Justin Bell's pre-race show on IMSA.com, Ed Brown said, I'm just going to put my foot in it and let it deal. Let's see what happens.
We are underway at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca.
Expect aggression.
Valiante clears him. Look at this. Jackman down the outside. Deep move. Goes up to second. What a move by Gustavo Jackman.
Yak attack on the way to front.
Christian Fittipaldi also right there in the red and white number 5 from Action Express.
One of the Corvettes off the road there, back on safely. Number 4 car pushed wide.
You put a wheel off here, you create a cloud of dust.
The factory Porsches is around.
Down in turn 4.
Not in the gravel trap. That's good. He'll get going again.
There he goes, the 912.
Michael Christensen got turned around there. Yeah. Very impressive young driver. Really has tremendous speed. Had the win at Sebring. Not a good start to the day.
You can expect every start and restart to be extremely aggressive.
Earlier we heard from Bobby Rahal. This is the part of the track named for him. Rahal straight now, plunging down more than 100 feet. A 10-story drop through the corkscrew.
Great lap by Ed Brown. There was so much pressure on him. I think everyone had their sort of like antenna up about how he'd deal with it. He's done a great job here on this opening lap.
I concur. I mean, that is a pressure cooker he was in right there.
On board here with Ricky Taylor, the number 10. Konica Minolta entry. Chasing down Rojas.
You just want to get this first lap in the books. Get it out from underneath you. You can take a deep breath now and start working on it.
Look at Jackman. He's looking for a way by. Michael Valiante. Jackman really deep into the brake zone.
Trying the outside. Is he going to try an over-under here?
You talked about it, Bob. Daytona prototypes like Valiante is driving at the lead of the field right now, won the first 3 races. There's been some performance adjustments, balance of performance we call it, to the DPs. They've lost a little bit of restrictor, meaning they shouldn't have the horsepower advantage they've had in the opening 3 rounds. But right now, that heavier car gets these tires up to temperature a little bit quicker. I think that's why Michael's hanging on to the lead.
And also Gustavo, he's using what he has. With the lighter car, he's using the brake zone. He's getting that car in there deep to try deficit.
Look at Ed Brown leading his teammate Scott Sharp through a couple of laps here. No one expected this. He has really risen to the challenge here today.
Looking over side by side, you can anticipate somebody's up in there.
Glancing at his mirror on the left. A blind approach to the corkscrew. Here comes Fittipaldi down the inside of Sharp.
Wow. Great move there by Christian.
Good job.
Difficult scenario for Scott Sharp. He doesn't want to take out the team boss ahead of him, so I think he has been a little bit conservative there. Into the brake zone of the corkscrew, Fittipaldi took advantage.
And you nailed it already, Calvin. The heavier DP cars, they are getting the tire temp right now. They're ready to race. The other cars are still just now getting up to temp.
Look at Jackman up the road. He's trying to put the pressure on the leader. Let's look for that brake zone again. We're on board with Scott Sharp here.
You know he'll
Watch
drive
this.
it in there.
Lighter weight car, about 300 pounds lighter. That'll be an advantage into the brake zone, trying to stop the weight of the car.
Trying to force an error, too, to the front for Michael Valiante. He can keep driving it in there deeper every lap.
90 car was qualified by Richard Westbrook. He put the car on the front row. He's a 2-time pole sitter here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, taking the pole the last 2 years. Just came up a little bit short of making it 3 in a row. But he and his teammate really want a good solid result to rebound from a little moment in the middle of the Long Beach race that would really hurt their day.
But even though they didn't get the pole, obviously the Spirit of Daytona team knows how to set up a car for this track.
I think they like the smoother circuits. I mean, they've really been struggling to get their shock package to work on the bumpiness of like Long Beach to Sebring on these smoother circuits. Here comes Jackman. Valiante defense.
Valiante to the middle of the track, took the line away.
And I tell you what, they had a little bit of argy-bargy at Long Beach. There's not a lot of love lost between these two guys.
Well, that's hard racing, but it's clean.
This is good stuff. Look at Jackman. He wants it. He is hungry. He wants the lead.
Keeping the pressure high. That's very good. Good run off this corner. See who does what.
You mentioned the weight difference between the cars, Calvin. I'm wondering if Jackman is just trying to push Michael Valiante so hard that a few laps from now he might run the tires off the Corvette.
Valiante's going to go defensive down here in turn 2. Watch. Takes the inside away right away.
And this is hurting his lap time, and I think that's allowing the 2 ESM cars to stay in contact with these. Jackman definitely has some pace right now.
Yeah, he wants it too. He's a very aggressive driver. We know that.
Can't afford to throw it away. There's a potential win on the table here today. He's got the speed. He just needs to stay cool.
We've been saying all year long, if a P2 car can get in front, control the pace to their pace, they can win this race.
And there's some extra history involved when you are the first former P2 car to win in the TUDOR Championship.
Look at this
battle right here. That's the lead.
Here comes Jan Magnussen in the bright yellow C7 Corvette with John Edwards in the BMW right behind him, and then Richard Leitz in the first of the factory Porsches.
Richard Leitz has only had one other start here. That was in that hybrid, kind of that development car that Porsche had. It was also numbered 911. He said it was a very different race car to the one I'm driving here this weekend. He said it's like learning the racetrack all over again, but he's doing a nice job hanging on to the leaders right now.
9 and plunging downhill.
Ricky Taylor on the move. Here comes Rojas. Ed Brown fading just a little bit now. Ford Power swept the last 2 races. They've been pegged back a little bit, as have the Chevy Daytona prototypes. Lost some restrictor. That hurts their top speed a little bit.
Michelin leaderboard across the top. Those are the GTLM standings. We'll take a quick break and return with more from Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, where we're underway on our nightcap of the sports car doubleheader. No,
I didn't.
Couldn't get off the corner. Back live at Mazda Raceway. When we left you, it was close at the front of this race. It's even closer now as Michael Valiante leads Gustavo Jackman, who's never been more than a car length away on the last lap. then Christian Fittipaldi and Scott Sharp, who have closed up to join the fight.
There have been some fireworks over the last couple of minutes here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. Jackman is feeling the heat from behind. He is forcing the issue on Michael Valiante.
Well, I said no holds barred, and I'll tell you what I was talking about. The last 2 laps is what I was talking about. These guys have made some moves that are just unbelievable. Pass attempts, counters, inside, outside.
So close to the apex where that tire barrier awaits. This is the kind of thing we're talking about. 2 laps ago, Jackman attacks at the top of the corkscrew, and there goes a piece, I think, off the Daytona prototype.
It was off the back of the Tour device. Here comes Jackman inside. He gets pressured here.
You think he's got him? Nope.
This is awesome racing. Valiante doesn't want to give up the lead of this motor race. Jackman wants it in the worst possible way.
And Valiante's holding Jackman up. You can tell that because Fittipaldi's right behind him. He's got Scott Sharp with him. There's a bump. Watch this.
Next lap, same floor to the racetrack. Coming across start finish, down to the Andretti hairpin.
Valiante defends, takes that inside lane away. It looked like Jackman's got it. Does he have track position? No, Michael squeezes on the power.
You saw a little bit of hand movement there, steering input from Jackman. He just slipped that little fraction of a second. That was all that Valiante needed.
And of course, Fittipaldi's there to pounce if it doesn't work, if anything goes wrong. And now it's a 5-car battle.
It's going to be a parade in a minute.
On board with Rojas.
Valiante,
2 wins.
Valiante's not blocking. He's holding up. He's taking his line. But in doing so, he's slowing up the whole freight train. And they're getting caught up from behind. Look, inside, outside. Try inside again. Won't work in here.
There could be some tears here in a moment. This is getting really, really tight. Jackman will think about the outside. It's not going to work here in Rainy Curve.
2-1 won't go here.
Great driving by both these young drivers. This is sensational stuff.
And sensibly, the 3 behind are content to watch right now. They don't want any part of what might happen.
Well, judging the way Christian Fittipaldi pulled up to Jackman's gearbox, I'm not sure he's content to wait anymore.
He's got a pusher now.
Yeah.
Well, the DP still seem to have a little bit of straightaway speed despite the restrictors who Jackman has to defend and doesn't have anything for them. Middle part of the straightaway, but down into the brake zone, really, really strong.
You know what happens? You see this in front of you, and then your adrenaline gets going. You want a part of that. Next thing you know, you're all in a big wreck.
So it's Daytona prototype P2, Daytona prototype P2, Daytona prototype. Great mix at the front of this field. We all said in the offseason it can't be done. You can't equalize these 2 very different animals in terms of the technology involved in the production of these race cars. Well, they've done a great job as getting closer every weekend.
And this is the goal, this kind of racing.
Valiante finally able to get a little breathing room from Gustavo Jackman, who's been all over him.
Let's go to the pit lane where Brian Till is standing by with JOAO Barbosa, Christian Fittipaldi's teammate.
Barbosa watching our monitors here and watching the race. And JOAO, for you, I mean, you're thinking about Christian. You want him to get to the front, but he's got to be a little careful of the war that's happening in front of him, doesn't he?
I mean, it's really interesting. The racing is going, it's very intense in the front. I think Christian has just enough gap to the front guys to be safe because it seems like it's the last lap, but there's still a long way to go. It's definitely a sprint race. It's only 2 hours, so everybody's going flat out.
They're having a great time down here in the Action Express camp. They are glued to the screen, guys.
We said one of the keys to victory was track position. No one wants to give it up right now. You might not have a chance to get it back.
Well, I'm just sitting here thinking, which corner would I want to sit at if I could just wander around the racetrack? 11,
pretty good.
2, top of the corkscrew?
I'll take passenger on the helicopter seat.
Okay, there you go. You want them all.
I want to see all these corners.
Rojas has joined the party as well. It's now a 6-pack for the win.
On board the EcoBoost powered 01 from Ganassi Racing. Memo Rojas and Scott Pruitt going for the hat trick of 3 straight victories in today's race, but right now they are the caboose on a 5-car title fight. 6 cars, including the Ganassi machine. Let's join Jamie Howe standing by with our race leaders co-driver.
Down with Richard Westbrook. Richard, a lot of tough competition out there right now. The action is pretty intense. As you sit up here and you wait for your turn, what are your thoughts on what you see going on out there?
I don't know, I'm not watching. I stopped watching after 2 laps. Yeah, when Gustavo's behind you, then it's probably best not to watch. I mean, it's a 2-hour race. It doesn't feel like it at the moment, but I think we've just got to survive this onslaught. and get to the first round of pit stops, and then we just want a nice clean race. And a lot of bad luck the last 3 races, so we just want a nice clean race, and so yeah, that's why I'm not watching at the moment.
Best way to stay cool and calm, guys.
Good luck with that one. I'm sure this is going to stay clean.
Well, how about it? Do you think if Jackman could get by Valiante, he could drive away from him?
Yeah, I do. I think if he got in front, I think he would drive away, because those guys are all stacked up as a result of that hard race up front.
Here's the GTLM race. Magnussen and Edwards still 1-2. Leak still in 3rd. The second Corvette with Tommy Milner at the controls is in 4th. Then Andy Prix in another BMW, and Kuno Whitmer in the first of the SRT Vipers.
Yeah, these 5 are really closely matched on lap times, and we saw at Long Beach that the number 3 car got the gap, had a prototype car get in the mix early in the going, allowed Magnussen and Garcia to open the gap on the rest of the field, and it was game over with no yellow. Today, it's a close run match here, as you can see. No prototypes got involved in the mix here, and this is what we expect to see for the next hour and 45 minutes. Good hard racing between the top manufacturers in the business.
And what it should give us is long green flag runs, which is going to let us allow to see whose tires go off first, whose fuel economy is what. You know, normally we don't have that much with the mixed class, but today I think we're going to get a lot of green.
And as in the earlier race we brought you today, you should know that it's a very compact weekend. These teams and drivers have not had a lot of track time coming into the main event. Here's the view Jan Magnussen has out the windshield of his Corvette C7R. This is turn 11 at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. Start finish up ahead on the road. We'll be back.
Hi, I'm Johannes van Overbeek, driver of the number 2 Patron ESM Honda prototype car. Here we are at the top of the iconic corkscrew, one of the most famous corners in all of motorsports. Getting here is a bit tricky. You come over the rise just in front of me here. It's blind. You have to brake just before, get off the brakes, on the brakes hard just after. You turn into the abyss. It's a 5-story drop from here down to the other side. Some people use a tree as a reference point, and some people just count. Here we are at the bottom of the iconic corkscrew. We've only walked about 30 feet, but we've fallen about 6 stories from the apex of the corkscrew to here. The exit of here is important because it leads to turn 9, and turn 9 is critical for a good lap time here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca.
And if you'd like to experience it for yourself here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, you can come take a Skip Barber driving school to drive the corkscrew. Now let's find out what's going on with the 42. Gustavo Jackman has lost some pace, it would appear. What do we know, Jamie?
Well, his new co-driver, Alex Brundle's been watching on as Gustavo's out on track. We see the damage on the front of the car. And these type of machines, how big of an effect is that having right now?
Yeah, it can have a reasonably big aero effect if you start taking little pieces off the front. But hopefully, it didn't look like a massive contact, to be honest. So hopefully he's got away with it. If you take too much off the front, it's a big deal. You're going to have to come in, you're going to have horrible balance, but it looks like he's still doing okay out there, so obviously not too much damage done.
So the plan at the moment is for him to stay in and continue on with the plan for scheduled pit stops?
Yeah, absolutely. We stay on plan A and maximise our performance from here.
Thank you, Alex.
So as you can see in the replay, Jackman did get some dust on his tires. All he was missing that I could see in the front wing was that little flick up at the left front corner.
Yeah, that little fence, as they call it, which just kind of keeps the aero on that little dive plane, or the front splitter, should I say. And that shouldn't be a huge amount of difference, but for some reason he does seem to have lost a little bit of pace. The other thing we've got to factor in with Michael Valiante, he was having to defend pretty hard. That cost you lap time. Now he's able to just focus on his line, hitting his marks. He's picked up the pace a little bit as well.
I think that's what you're seeing right there for sure. You know, for Gustavo, all he did was drop 2 wheels off outside turn 4, get dirty tires, and he had to go into defensive posture because, of course, the cars behind were in the pounce on him, too.
On board with Scott Sharp here. These are both P2 cars, but different cars. Nissan Power with the Yoke Racing entry, number 42. Got the HPD Racing entry here. The number 1, Patron colors. Pretty evenly matched, though, coming up that straightaway. Everyone said that Nissan has a lot more horsepower. Look at the an effect there.
You're 21 minutes into this race, and it seems like forever. So Ed Brown pits, out he comes, in goes Johannes van Overbeek. Jamie is there.
An interesting strategy call down here. Ed Brown was only in the car for 20 minutes. That's okay in terms of points. He only needed to be in for 15. Johannes bent over, but getting strapped in right now. You see no other work being done. They are not taking tires. So for the next 45 minutes, Johannes will be out on these set of Continental tires.
I think the reason they're making that call right now, he had good track position. They're going to stay on the lead lap. And also, if you look at the number on the board right now, minute 38, these cars should go about 50 minutes on a stint, so they can do it on just one more stop. So it's a two-stop strategy for all of the prototype teams. They'll still be on a two-stop strategy, even stopping early.
Also, it's very, very cool out there today. You're not going to have a lot of tire heat buildup to deal with. This racetrack, because it's so sandy, it doesn't really wear the tires out because there's not a lot of grip here to begin with.
Particularly with the P2 cars, they struggle to get the tires up to temperature because they are a lighter weight car. And talking to Ryan Dial, who runs for the same squad in the other car, the number 1, he said, yeah, we can double stint, no problem whatsoever. I think these guys may try and go the distance, in fact, on one set of tires. That is conceivable.
Here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, the house cars, if you will. The 07 Mazda, Joel Miller runs 9th, and the number 70. You're riding with Tom Long, who runs 10th in class, 13th in the overall. Brian Till is standing by with John Doonan from Mazda.
And John Doonan is really the face of this Mazda program. I know Sylvain Tremblay and the guys are the ones who turn the wrenches, but John, you're really kind of the father of all of this, I guess. And we look at the improvements. We talked at Daytona, we talked at Sebring, and I know there have been plenty of downs, but certainly there have been plenty of ups along the way, and it looks good here this weekend.
I'm really proud of this race team, Speed Source, and all of our partners, Multimatic, everybody at Bosch, because this weekend was a breakthrough. It's great to do it here at our home track, Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. What we're doing has never been done, so it's great to be the first to ever do this with a production-based diesel engine. Still takes many steps, but we had a big breakthrough here.
You guys were telling me the other day that the pulses each time one of those engines or one of those cylinders fires is 3.5 times that of a gasoline power plant. What does that mean for all of the drivetrain?
Well, it means that we're putting this engine, which is a road car engine, to the ultimate test here on the track. And back in the dyno room, you can simulate things, but it's really here at the racetrack where we put it through the test, and hopefully today we can put it higher up on the grid.
Well, and they've made a point to say, guys, it's not the power plant that's failed, it's drivetrain issues to this point in time. Like I said, the loads just absolutely unbelievable through the drivetrain from that little Sky Active diesel power plant. Jamie?
Well, there are a lot of people questioning Ed Brown starting this race for that number 2 machine, but Ed, you had a great opening stint. You led the first lap of the race. You were strong all the way through. What kind of car did you hand over to Johannes?
That's a really good car. You know, I started to get some vibration in the left front, so we pitted. And it was part of our strategy that if I was close enough to the leaders, we would pit. So, you know, I keep on getting better and better. You know, my teammate works on me constantly. And, you know, it's a privilege to be out there with these guys. They're all some of the best drivers in the world, and just to be on the track with them is an honor.
You did a great job.
He did an awesome job, and there we see the initial start. This is him right in the middle of the mix. He's the car right in front of Scott Sharp here. Keeps it tucked to the inside, keeps it nice and clean, doesn't overbrake himself down into turn 1. You see Jakob take the run around the outside and grab that second spot. But that's Ed Brown right in front of Scott Sharp. Getting back to the Mazda story, they have made a breakthrough. They're running 122s here today. The leaders are running 121s. That is really, really close. That's a lot of progress in the last 3 rounds of this championship.
They've been as much as 3 seconds a lap off at certain tracks. I mean, they're coming forward, no doubt, but you have to get that reliability up before you start boosting power. Now they seem to have got the reliability of the driveline going. So what do? You turn it up a little more until something breaks.
They brought a raft of improvements to that car to the most recent race at Long Beach. Another raft of improvements this week, and there'll be more when we go to Detroit. We'll talk GTLM when we return to Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca.
The number 3 car of Garcia, he leads. BMW's run 2 and 3.
Yesterday we got the first pole position. Hopefully today we can get the first podium.
We won it last year. We can do it again.
Mueller and Milner really going hard at it.
The number 4 Corvette really beginning to apply pressure.
And Milner's flying.
You watch the Corvette can get into the corner better, but the BMW rotates in the center and launches quicker.
That Corvette would like nothing better to get the first victory, but a 1-2 would be the icing on the cake.
Magnussen across the line, and Corvette takes the victory.
A big win for one of the most decorated teams in American sports car racing. And you can enter for a chance to win the industry's most awarded car of the year, the 2014 Corvette Stingray Convertible. Visit racetowincorvette.com now. No purchase necessary. See the official rules for details. where I'm sure you will find that none of us can enter or win the contest since we work for the company.
Just not fair.
See, Magnussen here has got a little bit of breathing room from John Edwards. I think when that Mazda came through that started at the back of the pack and sort of like worked his way through this GTLM lead pack, spread the lead a little bit for Magnussen, and this is exactly what they had at Long Beach, zero pressure, and right now Magnussen just focused on hitting his marks. Porsche said they weren't really happy with their setup they're here this weekend, but they're in the mix as well. Top 5 cars have all run fastest laps today within hundreds, all at 124.2 second range. Great parity in this class.
Riding on board one of the factory Porsches, let's hear from one of the drivers waiting for his turn to drive. Here's Brian.
Patrick Long waiting to get in the 912, and problems early on, Patrick, out there on the track. Spin for Michael. Did he say what happened on the racetrack, and is the car still okay?
Yeah, we're okay. There was a little of initial thought that he might have a flat spot, but Michael's been doing a great job. He's been consistently the fastest car through the middle of this stint. We got another half an hour on this set of tires if we don't get a yellow. So we're going to watch how everybody develops now that we set into the second part of the stint, how tire wear plays into this. But so far it looks really, really tight. So I think P1s might have a big factor in our race.
Well, you and I were talking earlier in this racetrack, very familiar handling problem, understeer from the middle of the corner out. You guys made some pretty radical changes. Is it paying off right now?
So far, so good. Qualifying was a tough one for me. My tail was kind of up between my legs, and then we went in and looked at the data and saw that we just had a ton more understeer than the sister car. So we decided to throw a big bomber pass and give the diff a big yank, and so far it's been good. Michael doesn't say much on the radio as it is, but no negative comments, so we assume he's happy.
Well, Patrick told me after that spin, everything's fine. Michael is very fast on the racetrack. He's just got a long way to go to catch up to the cars in front.
He doesn't say much, but he makes a statement with a lap time. 124.0 is the fastest lap in class today.
He makes a statement when he gets out of the car. The guy's built like a bouncer.
He's a big boy.
On board the number 55 BMW, Andy Prix.
And Andy's been doing a tremendous job. Remember, he doesn't know many of these racetracks. He'd done Daytona before, Sebring. He knows Petit. Here we go, Strat. This may be a problem. Brian, what's going on with the BMW?
I hadn't heard anything on the radio, and when I was talking to Patrick, I had to turn my scanner off. I think it's routine. Earlier, John Edwards was saying he had a good car. The only place the Corvette was faster was in a straight line. Stopped taking a little longer than they wanted it to. And now Dirk Mueller underway.
Left front tire looked like it had a flat spot.
Yeah.
Brian might take a look at that while it's laying there.
It doesn't make sense. I think they can squeak it on a one-stop air. They're definitely not going to do it stopping right now. So I'd have to think there was some kind of issue or change of plan here.
Saw kind of an ugly looking mark on that tire. I think it was the left front. Might have just gotten close to somebody, had to lock it up, you know. That was just a speculation.
Hearing that there was some radio communication between John and the team that he had a big vibration, so you might be right, Dorsey, that may have been a flat spot, and that will change the game. I think what will help them is if there's a yellow, because if they come in, their next pit stop for fuel will be a lot shorter by being topped up right now.
He fell to 10th in class. Here's a good look at the number 93 SRT Viper.
This is a car that's been struggling through the weekend. They haven't had much track time, but I really thought this car would suit the course. With the climbing of the hills and so forth, that big V10 usually would be a good combination.
Yeah, Bomarito drives this car, of course, and teamed with Kuno Wittmer, who's behind the wheel right now. He's a local boy. He used to cycle to the racetrack, really gained his passion for motorsports by sneaking in through the back gate and watching the Indy cars run here. Great to see him now as one of the lead drivers on this SRT Viper squad. He is really performing really well, but I think this is a little bit of a surprise, not dissing the team whatsoever. I thought they would come in as a real championship contender, but it seems like the team struggles to find the sweet spot, Dorsey. When it's quick, it's dynamite quick, but it's not, doesn't seem to be an easy car to find that sweet spot with.
You see the 91 a little bit off the pace. We understand they might have a tire going down.
Either that or they might have pickup on it. That's the other thing, is a dirty racetrack. We've had races constantly for the last couple days. You get offline just even a little bit and you start getting into that tire buildup.
Let's see if we can see what might have happened.
No,
There's
he's locked it up pretty good on the right front.
It's the DP leaders coming through there, Valiente, and then you see Christian. He gets into the left rear body work.
Yeah, and he's got a little tire rub is what he's got.
And Yakiman smelled blood in the water there. Thought he had a shot at the 5, but apparently could not pick it up. Does that stay out?
Yeah, stay out, stay out.
Some of these GTLM cars are starting to have a few problems. Brian, what's the story at BMW?
Checked in with John Edwards. He just climbed out of the car. He said, we're on 2 different strategies. I did flat spot one of the tires, but it's really, really difficult to do it on one stop. With that flat spot, losing a little bit to the Corvettes, we just decided to go ahead and run the 2-stop strategy. So that's what's going on down at the 5.6, and now the 42 is in.
Jackman will get out. Alex Brundle will jump in.
He's got a tweet from his dad, said he's watching, so hi, Martin. Boy's been doing a great job over here in the States. Really has turned into one of these bright young hopefuls in sports car racing. Been doing a great job, typically in Nissan-powered cars.
And he is a lot of fun to talk to, as you may have sensed when he was interviewed earlier by Jamie.
Definitely a chip off the old block.
Oh, yeah.
Really reminds you of Martin.
Young driver with a big future, and if you know a young driver who would like to get started on the way to professional driving, tell them about safeisfast.com. Bobby Rahal with his BMW team here this weekend is the president of the Road Racing Drivers Club. Their nonprofit site, safeisfast.com, has a wealth of material, not just for aspiring pro drivers, but anybody interested in motorsports.
Dario Franchitti is now an ambassador.
That's right, and Honda is sponsoring the program. It gets bigger and better every month. So check it out, safeisfast.com.
Still waiting for Dorsey to pay his dues, though.
No, I'm up to date.
The Taylor number 10. Konica Minolta sponsorship is in the pits, and Brian's there.
Ricky Taylor climbing out. Jordan Taylor will take over the wheel and have long stint. There'll be another stop here. 4 Continental tires, as you would expect, a full load of fuel. And then Jordan will have a fresh race car to head out on track with. They, too, have been frustrated by a little mid-corner understeer towards the exit, so they've made some changes, guessed a little bit. And as the track warms up, they hope the car comes to them.
Go, 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 go! Spoke to Jordan this weekend. Of course, they are the defending champions here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. He and Max Angelelli went on a tear at end of last year, winning 3 in a row and clinching the championship. He said, I seem to excel at tracks with low grip, like Indianapolis, Kansas here. He said, I don't know what it is. He said, I'm just comfortable with the car being a little bit loose on me. And he said, I really like this low grip racetrack in terms of the pace that I'm able to develop.
I think he'll be a lot more comfortable, too, when he gets those belts nice and tight before he hits the track.
He got hung up, too, on his drink tube. I saw that. He had to release it and get that sorted.
It's like a definite 2-stopper for the prototypes if we stay green like this. And again, the big question is, can these GTLM machines do it on one stop? Everyone said it's going to be really, really tight. We need a little bit of help. John Edwards said we've gone off strategy. If you get a yellow, pit lane is closed. That will allow them to close out. They could come in the pits at the same time, leapfrog around a bunch of cars by having a shorter fill.
But usually you get those yellows early in the session.
Oh, Valiante gets turfed out.
Yeah.
Wow.
did a roll.
Ryan.
That was interesting on the way out, wasn't it? I'm looking at the right rear of this car, though, guys, and while it looks like the under tray is okay, obviously there's some body work on the right rear that's missing. That has a little bit of aerodynamic effect, but not nearly as much as the under tray has. So right now, Westbrook underway. Valiante, man, he had a hard stint and a hard exit out of the car.
That's the chunk that Jackman took off that early at the beginning. I saw that piece fly.
Yeah, it was
another good reason to wear a helmet.
Yeah, I wonder if he scratched up the helmet.
Climbing the hill to the legendary corkscrew and then plunging down. What a ride. Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. Don't forget this week, Major League Baseball on Fox Sports 1 is back with a doubleheader as Buster Posey and the Giants renew their rivalry with Yasiel Puig and the Dodgers. And the Indians take on Evan Longoria and the Rays. The action starts 3:30 p.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Great look at the corkscrew turn here at Mazda Raceway. Number 1 is in. Scott Sharp driving. We expect a driver change. To Jamie Howe.
Scott Sharp has come to a stop. This will be full service. Ryan DL standing by and ready. It looks like they will take 4 new Continental tires. So the crew is hard at work now. This team looking for a strong result. They were telling me earlier this week that their problem to this point is that they have been able to go fast, but they have not been able to race. Different conditions here today. So far, the cars are running very strong. They haven't had any issues. So Ryan DL can get in, do his job, and be on his way.
But a good, clean stop there. Ryan's going to be pumped up. He's had success here at Mazda Raceway before. These pit stops are critical. You can't afford any bobbles with a race that is going caution-free so far. It's all about executing.
It's a pretty clever thing to put that sort of sandpaper-like substance right on the gunnel, basically, the surround. So the driver has good purchase when he climbs out. Now, a moment ago, Alex Brundle attacked Richard Westbrook. Both men just getting to terms with their race guards, and they were at it immediately.
Watch this. This is a great run up the hill. Westy tucks back to the inside. Now they're climbing the hill up towards the corkscrew. Mano a mano. Alex doesn't want to give it up. Locks the brakes a little bit. Westy slices through.
I'm not sure who's attacking whom in this particular case.
Saw a battle between those two cars, but the two co-drivers earlier in this race, which was a lot of fun. That was a great little battle right there as well.
Hard but respectful racing. Give the other guy a little room. Give up the corner when it's lost.
And they took it.
Speaking of which,
they took it as far as they could, too. The next one would have been a wreck.
Yep.
Two Englishmen going at it here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. Now, Richard Leeds has really closed up on our leader, Jan Magnussen. You have to wonder if the tires at this stage of the stint are maybe going away a little bit on that Corvette, because the Porsche and Andy Prio, the 07's off at the corkscrew.
Damage underneath. Left. I don't know if he's got something stuck under that or if it broke the tub down there.
He's up to 4th position. Joel Miller having a great run here today.
Look at the left, right in the middle of the car on the tub.
And get into that tire wall at the apex, or
we ran
the tire stack, I should say.
Yeah, there's something under there, Bob. You're right.
Yeah.
It's gone now.
Looks like he burst a radiator. You saw that splash on the left
42
side
is in. Must be a problem for Al. There you see the body.
It's on end. Look at that. Yeah. They got contact, those two.
This will be a nose change, I'm guessing.
Yeah, this would just cut a tire down immediately, and he'd lose all his aero balance as well. Jamie.
Is damaged. Right front is damaged.
And the team now hard at work. They do have spare bodywork laying nearby. Luckily for them, they're at that break in the wall, so it's easy for them to get this bodywork around the wall. Team diagnosing right now. Yep, taking all of the parts off. They do have spares for the nose up here. It's going to take some valuable time on pit lane, but they're going to do the work anyway.
Wow, he and Westy again were in the thick of the battle. Alex just wanted to take it down to the inside, but there was a stack-up effect at apex.
It's all going on behind this Mazda, and then bang.
Yeah.
Well, I got the radiator. Look at the fluid on the side window.
Alex got into our championship leader, number 5, JOAO BARBOSA behind the wheel, and that forced him into Joel Miller.
I would think that's going to draw a penalty, too. That was a direct T-bone contact. Of course, the Mazda was innocent.
Looks like they're going behind the wall.
Yeah, I think there may be some suspension damage to that right front as Alex shakes his head. Westy wasn't making it easy for him. Here he comes. Big late move. Westy sort of like tucks it down the inside. Don't go there. Then he's in the dust, in the dirt.
And he knows he's got to get back on track before he gets to that tire stack.
I wonder if there's any damage to our championship leader, number 5 there in that incident.
Well, those are the two that are innocent, the 5 and the 07. The rest of them are going to have a look at, I'm sure. I think this burst of radiator, Bob, you saw it. The whole side window was full of some kind of fluid.
Got him right in the side pod. And
see the damage there.
Yeah, there's damage on that car pretty well, too.
The team confirms they are done. The 07, that is.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah, it is.
They had nothing to do with that wreck except for being in that corner.
There's Joel Miller, another California driver.
Can't emphasize enough how much progress this car has made, because it was really struggling in the first couple of rounds of this championship, and starting to come alive within a second of the pace. That's not too bad.
Yeah, it had pretty good form here. It did. Damage on the left front there, right behind the wheel on the 5.
The car looked like it was porpoising a little bit. I wonder if it's healthy.
Boy, there's a lot of debris. Look back there.
Yeah.
Those are our carbon shards off of somebody.
Well, there was a lot of talk about not only the performance balancing of a P2 and a DP, but how they would race together. A DP is a much more robust car. It's 300 pounds heavier. I think that's an indicator right now. The 42 car's behind the wall. This 5 car took a big hit as Barbosa drops the wheel.
Yeah, that's a really scary place to do that, too.
That'll wake him up.
Yeah, well.
You see there, just the grill there, the outlet from the front fender is damaged.
That's where the contact was made. No fault of the 5.
Here comes a whole bunch of GTLM.
Andy Prix, we mentioned earlier, he doesn't know these racetracks. He uses iRacing to learn the tracks. But I spoke to him this weekend. He said at Long Beach it was great. He said, but when you get to a track with elevation change, a simulator doesn't really recreate that, so it takes a bit longer to get to grips with the new circuit.
Well, there aren't many simulators that throw you off the top of a 10-story building, are there? The word from the pits is JOAO BARBOSA in the number 5 from Action Express is reporting something rubbing.
Leaks in really deep.
Boy, just
Box a break.
Just that
momentarily.
Just that little puff of smoke. He released it right away.
There's the 5.
I don't see any smoke out of the 5. If he's feeling a vibration off the right rear, he thinks.
Dirk Mueller now behind the wheel of the white BMW Crown Plaza entry right there. We said on a very different strategy. John Edwards made that pit stop about 30 minutes in. Sometimes, though, when you have a little bobble in these shorter races, which are potentially one-stoppers, it can come back. I mean, BMW have done it before. They've got a very smart group there on the pit box at Rahal, and they've split their strategies. Not a bad way to go when you have a small problem.
Now let's join Jamie once again in the pit lane.
Well, Michael Valiante had a very strong drive. Richard Westbrook behind the wheel now. There's a lot of attrition going on at this point in the race. How concerned are you as you sit back and watch the race unfold?
Well, I mean, Richard's done a great job all year. I'm happy to be with the team. It's going to be a definite challenge here because these races seem to go green now. So I came in the lead. We lost some spots in the pits, but I think we have the speed to claw back if we can maybe have a yellow or even run them down.
It's a great drive for you. Good job.
Big smile on his face. He was disappointed with Long Beach. He made a little mistake. He tried to go underneath John Pugh in the middle of the race there. He had the fastest lap of the race at that point, but John didn't give him the room on the inside, and it was too late to back out of it and put it in the fence. So he was disappointed. He wants to bounce back and get a good result here with Westy.
There's our new overall leader, one of only 2 cars in the top 10 that is yet to pit. And that pit stop is coming. Boris Said of the Whelen Corvette. He'll be in the pit shortly, and we'll be back from a break in just a moment. Stand by for more.
Here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, we have what Michelin refers to as a tale of 2 silicas. Silica is the key ingredient used inside of the road and competition tires. It replaces the carbon black, acts as a filler, and helps extend the range of performance. But here at this track, we also have another kind of silica at work, and that is in the sand. The sand that's found in the farms, on the beaches, and in the sandy gravel traps here at the track. Sand on the track is a real issue for Michelin and all of the race teams. Think of it this way. Grip is created when the hot tire interacts with the track surface. The rubber will fill all of these microscopic imperfections in the track and eventually build up a base layer of rubber. That base layer then interacts directly with the tire and increases grip. But here we have the sand that creates a layer between the tire and the track. And since the sand is loose, it decreases grip, increases sliding. So keeping the tires clean, especially on a restart, is crucial to making sure that the good silica inside the tire does all the work.
I think we're going to rename Jamie Sandy Howe. Well done. There's the 42. Apparently they've completed their repair and they will rejoin the battle. Once again, here's Jamie.
Still back in the garage. The car just pulled away, as you saw. I talked to the team. They say they had to repair on the right side. It was the wishbone, so that work was done. It was done very quickly as well, so didn't lose a whole lot of time. They're still going out there to get that data and to get a couple of points in this championship.
Yeah, it's critical because Jakoman sits 4th in points right now, so you just got to keep digging deep. These are the days in a championship run where you're not having the best of times, but you got to keep digging, get the car back out there, score some points, get some points on the table. But disappointing to see that battle kind of end there because Alex Brunel had a great run going. Westy wasn't making it easy. Alex was being really aggressive and just got caught out there in the corkscrew.
And he's going to pay for it. He'll come back about 8 laps down unofficially.
It was entertaining, though.
Oh, yeah.
Whilst we were away, Andy Prio pitted the second of the BMWs with an hour 8 on the board. So I'm not sure they're going to do it either with the second of those BMWs on just one stop by stopping that early, so we'll have to wait and see.
Well, it was a great battle for a while. We had a Corvette, followed by a Porsche, followed by a BMW, followed by a Ferrari. And by the way, that Ferrari, Pierre Caffer, has come from stone last in the field, now runs third in GTLM and 13th in the overall.
Awesome run for him. They actually went to the back of the pack, wanted to change tire compounds, went to a softer compound and done a flying job there. I mean, they had a problem at Long Beach. Dane Cameron drove the car there with Fisichella. They found out after the event that they had a broken shock, so that was why they didn't have pace there, but the Ferrari has been on song this weekend.
Have a look at the number 10 from Wayne Taylor Racing. That's been to victory lane here in the past. There's that GTLM battle. It's now Corvette, Porsche, and there's Pierre Caffer in that bright red Ferrari. Co-driving with Formula One Grand Prix winner Giancarlo Fisichella. Now let's hear from the boys at Wayne Taylor Racing. Here's Brian.
Jordan Taylor behind the wheel of the 10 right now. Ricky Taylor handed it to him. You guys know how to get it done here. You've had a pole. Jordan has won before. But these P2 cars now, the balance seems to be so close. What does Jordan have to do battle with Ryan Dial that's right behind him? Where's your car stronger than theirs?
Yeah, our Continental guys made some huge changes overnight last night after qualifying, and the car's really good. If I went to flat spot with all the tires at the start, but I feel like we're really strong in the first half of the track, where we can utilize our mechanical grip. And then coming down after the corkscrew down the hill and all the high-speed stuff is where I feel like they're strong. The surprising thing that got me was they have a lot of top speed, which, you know, we didn't expect, but Jordan's got his hands full, I'm sure.
One thing it's led to, guys, is some very close racing. We've seen it since the drop of the green.
That's right, Brian. And that mechanical grip that young Mr. Taylor was talking about is just what Jamie Howe mentioned earlier in the Michelin Tire Tech Tip. It's the interaction between the track and the tire and suspension of the car.
Great battle here. Look at Pierre Caffer. He had that second spot just for a moment. Richard Leitz retaliates, grabs it back. Remember, Ferrari started on fresh tires. These other guys were only allowed to change one of the 4 tires after qualifying. Otherwise, those tires, it may only be 6 or 8 laps, but it is significant in terms of their performance factor in the race.
I think you saw something a little subtle there. As Pierre Caffer was approached by the 01 from Ganassi Racing, he moved aside and let the bigger prototype go through. It was a lot closer when that car got up to Richard Leitz in the Porsche, and it could have led to contact.
Both Leitz and Caffer's cars were twitching around a little bit. You saw them. They're on the verge of breaking loose as they came out of turn 6, headed up that hill. So they're driving quite hard right now.
There's a couple of penalties that are going to be placed on that great battle we saw earlier. The 42 car of Alex Brundle just got back out there. He's going to get a stop and hold for 55 seconds for the incident up in the corkscrew for avoidable contact. And the 90 car, I guess there was another incident in turn 5. They're going to get a stop and hold for 55 as well. So that is a devastating blow, particularly to the 90 car that was still very much in the hunt here, running in the 3rd spot. The 42 car's day was already ruined by the fix to the suspension. So this is a big curveball.
Yeah, I was pretty sure the 42 was going to draw a penalty. We didn't. I didn't really zone in on what happened with that 90 there. But like you said, Calvin, the 90, it's devastating for because that's still a really good car in position.
Yeah, that team really can't seem to catch a break. Westy won here a couple of years ago with Antonio Garcia as his teammate, as I mentioned, has 2 poles at this racetrack.
10 laps to go until we stop again. Great job, Ryan.
Look at Dial. He is all over the back of Jordan Taylor for the lead. Remember, these P2 cars can go really deep on the brakes. Lighter weight car, lots of downforce.
He'll try to switch to the inside. It won't work, though.
No.
But he is absolutely hounding now.
Have we seen anybody make that outside pass in 2 work?
You can never get that enough power off there.
Now let's take a look at a replay from about 20 minutes ago as the 90 and the 42 came together.
This one is under review still for the 90, but this is coming into turn 5. There you see Alex takes it in really deep, gets to the outside. Just a little hip check there.
Little hip check and puts him under gravel.
Look at Alex. He's
and then later.
Now this one
the top of the hill.
Yeah, I knew that would draw a penalty. There's no doubt about that one.
Yeah, Richard had gone really defensive on the entry to turn 5, and Alex said no problem, I'll just take it in deeper, try and go around the outside. And Richard didn't use all of the road, but he certainly used 80% of it. He didn't give him a car lane there. So tough call, and they're really beefing up the driver steward room with some new names up there, and these are tough calls for the boys.
No question about it, and you're right, Calvin. It's to the series' credit, it's no secret that there have been some very awkward and even unfair race calls, not so much due to anybody with an axe to grind, but simply because the technology wasn't there to get a real accurate assessment of some tough situations. So the TUDOR Championship has raised its game, bringing in new technology and more advice from experienced drivers and officials to help make those calls as consistent as possible.
Well, it's neat that they bring in these current drivers that are either out of ride or whatever, or non-drivers, and they put them on a rotating basis. They won't be the same guys every week, but they're going to be guys that go in there and lend knowledge to the a very tough job, very hard job.
Similar to Formula One, they have an advisor there, an ex-Formula One driver typically, or a sports car star who can really just read the dynamic of a race. I mean, the officials up there are great at their job, but sometimes having someone who's been in this machinery in recent years is really important to just read what happens. Every incident is different, and reading the language of the race car, the situation, the corner itself. Garcia behind the wheel. They're just past the hour mark, so they should be able to do it without a further stop. Oh, he's in a weird angle there.
Oh, boy. He's tight on that corner, too.
Yeah, can they get the left front changed?
Ryan.
That was just very, very close in pit in. The Corvette was released and really shouldn't have been, because the 912 was about to pull into their spot. They almost collided in pit road, and if there had been any other cars pitted downstream of them, there would have been a collision. Christensen out, Patrick Long getting in. They're just heard him say roll it back so that Patrick Long can get out. He makes the turn, it's been serviced, stalls the car, but he's now underway.
And it just gets everyone out of rhythm, the mechanics, the driver, when suddenly a skew there in your pit box. Everyone's out of their normal routine.
And for those that caught it at home, that was, in fact, tilt steering on the Corvette race car.
Close to the wall, it was hard to get the tires changed. Here's the sister car. Back to you, Brian.
Richard Leeds climbing out, Nick Tandy climbing in. Tandy won here last year in GTC, knows this racetrack well, and obviously knows this race car very well. Porsches, Patrick Long talked about it earlier, really struggling, as many cars have, with understeer through the middle of the corner. The 911 has seemed to be better than the 912 all weekend long. They've got a good car underneath them, and Tandy now looking to get back on track. 4 Michelin tires on, fuel is in.
Go, 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 go.
Boy, interesting to see Tandy doing his belts up all by himself. A driver really can't see down on his lap very well, given the big chin section of his helmet. Surprised nobody was reaching in to help him do that. Moments ago, this was the 3 exiting as the Porsche was entering, and that's why it got a little cockamamie there in the pit stall. 5 minutes remaining in the Continental Tire Monterey Grand Prix powered by Mazda. We're having a lot of pit action going on. Some cars taking tires and fuel, some just fuel.
I think the reason they're doing that is because, unfortunately, during the break, Ryan Dial pulled the #1 machine off to the side of the road, and I think these teams are anticipating maybe a full course yellow. Pit lane would be close. They're trying to dive in, get their fuel tanks topped up. They would leapfrog around anyone who needs more fuel on the next and last pit stop. So it's a good call, but it's a bit of a gamble, because you can be effectively adding a pit stop to the race if it stays green.
And for Ryan Dial, when he broke, he got off driver's left going up the hill toward the corkscrew, and he went to a safe area. Really, I don't think they're going to bring caution to get that car.
I don't think so either. There's a local yellow flag out there, meaning no passing, but you race on.
There he is right there.
There is Dial.
Way off driver's left.
Let's take a look at what happened and listen for the sound of his gearbox issues.
Or no gearbox. Just broke right there.
We just lost the gearbox. Just lost the gearbox.
That is such a shame. It was going to be a great battle. He was putting the pressure on Jordan Taylor, who we know, we've seen, he will not wilt under pressure, Jordan Taylor, but Dial's one of the best in the business, and everyone thought this could be their day.
That broke something pretty major in the driveline. I mean, it wasn't like just the gear it was in. It broke the whole entire cluster.
Good news for the Patron team is this man, Johannes van Overbeek, now leads this race. But probably won't be long before he needs to hit pit lane. Remember, Ed Brown pitted that car for about 20 minutes or so. So he's a long way into this stint.
The order is Van Overbeek, then Jordan Taylor and JOAO Barbosa, followed by Richard Westbrook, all of them in Corvette Daytona prototypes, Oswaldo Negri in the Michael Shank Racing Ford EcoBoost Riley, and then Scott Pruitt in a similar car and engine combination for Chip Ganassi Racing.
The big question is, Bob, with 50-odd minutes on the clock still, whether those DPs who just made that pit stop can stretch their fuel to make it to the checkered flag without a splash for fuel. I wasn't hearing those numbers, but again, they haven't had a lot of track time this weekend, so a lot of the teams were reluctant to really give you a definitive answer in terms of how far they could go because they hadn't had clear running. When you're running in traffic, Dorsey, you're not getting an accurate fuel number.
No, and there were so many disruptions during that time. This is a long green run, just like we thought might happen.
On board the 93 SRT Viper, Jamie Howe has more on the team.
Well, they had an unfortunate situation happen in that last round of pit stops. They could not get the left front tire off, and then more importantly, they could not get it back on. Lost a lot of time on pit lane. Jonathan Bomarito's behind the wheel now. Kuno, what chance does he have of making up the ground that was lost with under an hour to go?
Well, you know what? I mean, the Pennzoil Ultra Viper right now is running pretty good as far as it being on track. And you know what? While I was out there, I was able to go from 9th up into the top 5. So the car is working really good, just as we expected. And the only little gremlin we had was in pit lane with a wheel nut, which might hurt us a bit, but J-Bomb's behind the wheel and he'll do it.
All right, thank you. Brian Till?
Boys up top are talking about fuel mileage and whether these Daytona prototypes can go that 50 minutes. I talked to the teams down here. Remember, Chevrolet and Ford both got a performance balancing adjustment. They reduced the horsepower in a sense by reducing the air. That, in fact, is going to reduce the amount of fuel that they burn. So with the teams that I talked to, they can run close to 55 minutes. Jamie?
Johannes Van Overbeek has pitted his number 2 machine from the lead. This time he will take 4 new Continental tires. He also got a fresh drink bottle. He's been in the car already for a long time, and he will take the car to the checkered flag. Temperatures going up a little bit. The fog that had moved in has moved out. Johannes working hard, the crew working hard. Flawless pit stop for them.
Well, if they can go 55 minutes, Brian, they'll be in good shape. The Daytona prototypes for this man, he's got about 48 minutes on this run. I think it was an hour 38 on the clock when he made that pit stop when Ed Brown jumped out. So about 48 minutes, he's got to stretch it a little bit further. If he wasn't out, then he should be good to go as well. But there you see Jordan Taylor flash by. He is taking track position away from Johannes Van Overbeek, and there goes the Action Express machine as well.
About 50 minutes into the stint for Johannes Van Overbeek. He'll do another 50 minutes before he sees the checkered flag.
Well, he'll be good, no doubt about that. Question is on these guys.
Can Jordan Taylor make it 2 in a row? He and Max Angelelli won here last year. It was a fantastic win. Look at this battle.
That was good.
Caffer up ahead. Giancarlo Fisichella has taken over for Pierre Caffer now. They run 3rd behind Dirk Mueller's BMW, Bill Auberlin in a similar car. Then Fisichella and Antonio Garcia in the bright yellow number 3 Corvette.
Garcia was the fastest man in qualifying, put that number 3 Corvette on the pole position. Corvette have won here the last couple of years. They've got a really fast race car, but all credit to the Reese group. They've done a tremendous job here this weekend with strategy in terms of starting the car at the back on fresh rubber. Caffer was flying. Fisichella's been on the pace all weekend long. This will not be easy for Antonio Garcia to get by him.
Brian Till, you've been studying the fuel situation?
I haven't been studying the fuel situation. I've been studying the personalities that give me the information. Because while I was told that they can go close to 55 minutes, I was just listening to Jordan Taylor on the radio. The crew said, you're running 122s, that's a good pace. And he said, I'm not worried about the pace. It's the fuel number that I'm concerned about right now. He's reading that off his dash.
So the plot thickens. If you were with us for the opener of our doubleheader featuring the PC and GTD cars, you know how important fuel mileage can be. Just ask Spencer Pompelli, who ran out just short of the checkers. Fox Sports 1 is the place serious sports fans turn before every slam, every goal, and every game with America's pregame. Weeknights at 6 p.m. Eastern only on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Go check it out. Back live at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca here on Fox Sports 1 with Calvin Fish, Dorsey Schrader, Jamie Howe, and Brian Till. I'm Bob Varsha. There's your race leading Corvette DP in the hands of Jordan Taylor.
Here, Jordan. as we saw his T-shirt.
Yeah, they have a lot of fun. It's a really good driver pairing. I mean, they're brothers and they get along so well. It's a great family, and I think with Max kind of standing aside and letting the team develop here with some young drivers, he's going to be back at Watkins Glen. He'll run Petit for the final 2 rounds of the North American Endurance Championship, but they've got the 2 young Taylor boys. It's a great driver pairing. Wayne's very happy with their performance, and they seem to feed off one another.
What racer wouldn't want to go racing with his sons?
Big question mark, of course, will be for these final 44, 45 minutes. Do these DPs have enough fuel in the tank to make it to the checkered flag without a splash?
Meanwhile, over in GTLM, it's a BMW 1-2 right now. Brian Till.
It is a BMW 1-2, but I think that's going to change. Different strategies, Andy Prix, on the 55 and the 56. I think the 56 is going to have to stop again. What's Bill Arberlin got to do, though, to save tires? Do you have to conserve around here with as much as the cars slide around?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tyre circuit. Obviously, we're a little bit out of sync compared to 56, so we got a wave by there, which is great, because we're putting in some really good lap times. I think we've got a really strong car, and I think, you know, if it pans out how we want it to pan out, I think we've got a good chance to fight for the top step, so, or at least the top 3 positions. So it's a strategy race now.
Strategy race, and they're looking pretty good with their strategy, Jamie.
Another team that's looking pretty good with their strategy is Racing Competizione. They're currently 3rd in the GTLM category. We mentioned that they started at the back of the grid because they decided to change tires. That call actually came from driver Pierre Capper-Pierre. Why did you feel it was more important to have a new set of tires at the start of this race?
Yeah, well, after the qualifying, I was thinking, okay, I take the start. We're P7. How can we get an advantage? And it was the whole night when I was thinking about it. And this morning we had an open chat. I made bringing up this idea. And in the end, it was the right choice to put a new set of tires on. And I'm glad to be back in this nice team with Racing Competizione and all the guys, and I have to say they did an awesome job. The car was just perfect to drive, and I really enjoyed to be on track here in Laguna.
Giancarlo Fisichella, he is absolutely good to the checker flag on fuel. No worries for them.
These guys are in really, really good shape for a potential win here today. I mean, Fisichella seems to have the pace of Garcia, who's right behind him. Orblin, the big question mark, is there. They stop with 1 hour and 8 minutes to go. I don't think they can go it that far. I mean, I really don't. I think they're going to struggle to get to the finish here without a splash on that BMW.
You have to think that no victory by anyone other than your own team would be more welcome than Racing Competizione. Giuseppe Risi and his boys have been through such horrible circumstances this year, wrecked one car after another.
Not little wrecks. I mean, you're talking about new car time wrecks.
He's a wonderful man, Giuseppe Risi. He has great passion for motorsport, but he just keeps getting kicked when he's down. I mean, just unbelievable to see. You think, oh, it's got to stop now, and then the next weekend something else happens, but he keeps digging deep. He's got some support from Ferrari, certainly got some great drivers on board, and it'd be nice to see them get a really good solid run. They went to Long Beach and said, all we want to do is finish. They got that one in the bag. Now they're looking for a lot more here today.
Yep. Giuseppe Risi's been doing it a long time. Here's the Falcon Tire number 17. What's unique about this race car? It's the only privately run GTLM car from Porsche in North America.
Had a great run here last year, finished on the podium in 2nd spot, and coming into this weekend, they're trying to get the balance right. They found last year they had a lot of oversteer in this car where they didn't have enough rear grip. This year with the redesigned Porsche, not enough front grips. They've come here with a narrower rear tire to try and take away some of that rear grip, Dorsey. It's all about balance. You think, oh, give away grip, why would you do that? It's more important the car has a good balance to it.
And while they're trying to develop a car and a tire combination, they didn't have much track time this weekend. I mean, we got here, we sat here for the first day, not even on the track, because so many cars this weekend that we shared the racetrack with. I should say that too, that this car's in really good shape now, but it's just a little late maybe.
It is a good-looking car. They didn't get the car in time to make the Rolex 24 at Daytona, but they have raced it since.
You mentioned the limited track time. I was talking to Wolf Hensler and Brian Sellers earlier today, and they said a lot of their track time this weekend was spent going through different combinations of tires. They are the only team running on the Falcon tires, and they are in constant research mode, trying to find the right tire to suit that brand new car. They haven't done any testing outside of the race weekends yet to this point. So they figured out that this was the best tire for them, and they actually felt like they had a car that was good for the race. They know they don't have the overall speed to do well in qualifying, but they felt like they have a pretty solid car. Everything right now is still going to plan. They're also good to the checkered flag.
Shared by Brian Sellers and Wolf Hensler. One of the more personality-laden driver lineups in the pit lane, you might say. There's a look at your class leaders. We'll take a break and return to Monterey, California.
That's Scotty's first win of the year.
And Rojas are champions again. 3 in a row.
Scott Pruitt, Ford EcoBoost. They take the victory at Long Beach. On board with Scott Pruitt, certainly one of the most decorated drivers in American motorsports history.
Still keeps getting the job done, Dorsey. I mean, he makes wine and he's like a wine. He just seems to get better with age. Amazing.
Look at those numbers just in the sports cars. 2 wins in the TUDOR Championship now, following up 41 in Grand Am, 15 IMSA GT wins. What's he got? 9 victories. The Rolex 24 at Daytona. He's raced just about everything you care to name, and he's won in virtually all of it.
Then you look at championships, and it's really outstanding because those are the hardest thing to get. And he has learned how to do it.
And that was after a couple of dozen national championships in karting. When I spoke with Jack Roush back when Scott was winning titles in IMSA GTO and Trans Am competition, Jack said, well, that poor kid Scott Pruitt stayed in karting way too long. I don't know how many good years he's got ahead of him. And here he is at age 53.
Oh, that was tight.
That was a rub.
A little rub. Tight with Nick Tandy.
That's an opportunity for the Corvette.
And it took a little chunk off the back of the car too. One of the aero widgets I saw fly.
Two Brits going at it here, Nick Tandy and Gavin. Gotta play nice. Tell you what, don't count out Scott Pruitt for a win here today. He's only 8.7 seconds back of the leader and only 4.5 seconds back of Johannes van Overbeek for second place right now. So he's got a target, and that's another win.
Boy, I tell you what, when you tell him to go and dig, he can get the job done. He splits these two. He'll get in the middle of them.
One thing he does do, though, he uses a lot of fuel compared with his teammates over the years. So they're going to be talking to him really critical here because they pitted even earlier than some of the other DPs. So they're going to be really stretching the fuel mileage on that Ford here this afternoon.
All that karting experience, he really stabs the throttle. He really doesn't blend the throttle in. When he goes all the way down at once with the thing, and it really squirts a lot of fuel.
He likes to turn the car right through the middle of the corner by, as you say, just jabbing on the throttle mid-corner, trying to keep the car on balance, but it does use unnecessary fuel.
Is that a karting technique?
Yeah, it really is, and he's worked it through everything he's ever driven. I mean, if you look at his throttle traces, he really kind of pitches the car and stabs the throttle.
One thing don't forget is that these DPs have had a restrictor change. It's about 1 millimeter on the Chevy, and here we look at this contact here with Nick Tandy and Johannes van Overbeek.
It was subtle, but watch right here. You see the piece of the widget fly off. It was definitely side-to-side contact.
Getting back to that DP story, maybe they're getting a little better fuel mileage here. We see the hit with Tandy. That was pretty heavy.
Yeah, it was.
Maybe these DPs are getting better fuel mileage today because of the smaller air restrictor.
Well, that could be. It would make sense that they would. It's not a lot, but even a little bit helps.
Millimeter on the Chevy, 0.9 on the Ford, but that's about 3%. In terms of like the straw that it's trying to breathe through.
Here's the bad news. 911 Nick Tandy is saying that that hit up there has bent his steering. His tie rod's bent. Steering wheel's off center.
Meanwhile, here's the number 60, Oswaldo Negri Jr. at the controls of the Ford EcoBoost Riley from Michael Shank Racing. Jamie Howe is with the boss.
Michael Shank, we see it. You guys are in good position right now. What's been the biggest challenge you've had to overcome this weekend?
Well, actually, we have a problem. We have a gear shift selection problem, and we're just not getting gears selected when he asks for it on the paddle. So Ford EcoBoost is running really good, but this gearbox thing is going to hurt us again.
All right, thank you. I know you need to get your headset back on. Thank you.
Yeah, he made it pretty easy there for Westy, who's on a charge, having to have that stop and hold after the incident with the 42 car. So Westy will be fired up in the cockpit, and Osnagri does not give up positions easy. So he recognizes he's got a wounded car, and he's just going to let him go.
The problem when you have these paddle shifters is you can't do anything about it. You pull the lever, it's all electronically activated. If it doesn't work, you kind of just have to try it again, and there's nothing you can do as a driver. You can't drive away around it like you could an old gearbox problem.
Boy, that's got to really throw off your driving when you're hoping the gear is going to go in.
Yeah, it's not good because it can lead to spins mid-corner, all kind of things.
Coming up on 32 minutes remaining, more on fuel mileage with Brian.
The talk on the radio up and down pit road is making their mileage number, and the drivers can look down on the dash and see what kind of a mileage number they're getting. I just checked in with Ganassi and Mike O'Gara and asked about the 01. He said it's going to be awfully close. Yes, we're getting better mileage because of the restrictor change, but it's still going to be close. A yellow would be a godsend. The problem with only 2 classes out here, might be hard to get that yellow.
No, and I think that's spot on. We talked about at the beginning of the show, Brian, the fact that there are only 2 classes. I mean, there's room to race, and it seems like the series are really trying to make an effort there. You see the park car of the 1 car right now of not throwing so many caution periods as we've seen in the earlier rounds of the championship. Everyone wanted to see that. I applaud the series in taking this action, but in terms of a team that needs one,
yeah,
they're maybe not going to get it today.
Well, we talked about that too. You know, the fact that you got all pro drivers, 2 classes of cars here, not as many cars on the field. The fact that these drivers know that if you go off the racetrack, you get stuck in the sand pit, in the gravel. Well, they're playing it cautious, and it doesn't surprise me.
Well, on top of all the other firsts going on this weekend at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, this is round 4 for these teams. It's their first natural terrain.
Sure, you tell me the slowest so I can make these things last.
Bill Oberlin pits in his BMW. It'll be 4 Michelin tires and fuel, and one of the problems, tire degradation here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca as these drivers search for grip. 4 new Michelin. Oberlin back underway.
He came in from first, and he continues to fall down the running order in GTLM as he makes his way down the pit lane at the 37-mile-an-hour pit lane speed limit.
Now watch this. He's going to work. He's going to earn a paycheck here.
Yeah, they're the championship leaders, and this puts the Ferrari in front right now. First lead of the year for Risi, and this is a great story. But getting back to the BMW, I thought they were shy on fuel, but it sounds like they were wearing the fronts off, so probably an imbalance in the race car. And if you're driving hard, trying to maintain the lead, really hard to maintain pace, but not wear those fronts out, Dorsey, if you got understeer.
Yeah, 27 minutes, though, with new tires. You know what Oberlin's plan is from here. Yeah. He's going to be hammered down.
He re-enters 5th in class, having pitted first. And we only picked up a fraction of a radio transmission to his team, but it sounded like off for the Corvette, number 4.
Ollie Gavin behind the wheel, just trying to clean those
back up again. Leave your tires off.
It's the 4th place car. Oberlin would be next.
See one of the tires from the bundle lay in the middle of the corkscrew. It's off to the left side, though, out of the harm's way.
But I wanted to mention that Oberlin exchange with his pits, because it sounded like he was saying, why didn't you tell me this at the beginning of my stint, as we watch the on and off by Oliver Gavin.
Gets too much speed, gets wide there. Might be tire degradation there too. I mean, just pushes off the outside. Good save here. Didn't lose that much time.
Calvin, you talked during our broadcast of the PC GTD class event about how if you want a driver to save tires, save fuel, save anything, run a controlled stint, you got to let them know as early as possible.
Yeah, particularly on fuel. If you're going to try and go into the fuel save mode and try and stretch it, you need to know that at the beginning of the run, not get 3/4 of the way through and then say, hey, you need to save a gallon of fuel. So that's important. On tires, that's really a driver feel thing. I mean, Bill would have been feeling what the balance was in the car, and then he'd be relating that information to the crew. So that's really a joint decision, I feel, in terms of managing the pace to a point where you're not wearing them out. I think Bill's just frustrated. I mean, he knows he's got the championship lead right now, and they really felt this was a racetrack that would suit the Z4, and it just seems that the day has not gone their way.
Ryan, what can you add?
Listen to Bobby Rahal on the radio when Oberlin left the pits, and the rest of that transmission was just relax. You've got new tires. The next car in line, talking about the leader that took over the lead in GT, has at least 20 on theirs. You'll have a good car at the end. just relax. So yeah, Bill Arberlin a bit frustrated, but he does have 4 new Michelins and about 25 minutes to go.
Big picture.
Yeah, but just relax is not in his vocabulary that I know of. I've never seen it.
And remember what we talked about at the top of the show. In GTLM, you've got 14 drivers covered by 9 points.
Yeah, you have a bad day, you can go from the championship lead to 14th. Saw the Delta Wing there a little bit slow. Haven't seen much of that car today. It's had a lot of pace actually with Andy Merrick and Catherine Legg behind the wheel, led by Dave Price, of course. It was pretty quick here.
Headed into the pits, it just looked awful slow because we were watching the speed that the onboard carried.
The problem for Bill Auberlen, yes, he's got fresh tires and he's got plenty of time, but he's still got a big margin now to make up. About 20 seconds to the leader in GTLM, and that's going to be a tough road here. Look at this, Garcia is starting to put the heat on Fisichella, using all of the road there.
And then some.
911 stays in touch, Nick Tandy.
This might get pretty intense here coming toward the last 25 minutes.
JOAO Barbosa coming up on the 4 of them. He gets by the Porsche.
Oh, here's that slower.
Whoa! Wow! That's in the corkscrew is the Delta Wing. The Corvette, nicely done as well from the onboard camera.
Just the Delta Wing is almost parked there at the apex, and Fissy didn't think he could get to the left of us, who just took the Zanardi line through there.
Yeah, looks like the Delta Wing had a flat left rear. He was trying to limp through there.
Said, my Italian mate can do it, I can do it also.
Yeah. He could have landed on top of the Delta Wing if he didn't get that right.
Great to see Alex Zanardi back racing again this year with BMW in the Blancpain Series. It's going to be fun to watch. Such great passion in that man.
Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. It is physical, it is action-packed, and we've got about 23.5 minutes to go before the checkered flag. We are back. Coming up on 20 minutes remaining here in the Continental Tire Monterey Grand Prix, powered by Mazda on Fox Sports 1 with Calvin Fish, Dorsey Schrader, Ryan Till, and Jamie Howe. I'm Bob Varsha. There is the battle. Jordan Taylor in the 10, leading Johannes van Overbeek in the 2. DP against P2. Here's a look at our Honda news and notes. Restrictor adjustments for the Corvettes and the Ford EcoBoost motors.
The reason being is the DPs did sweep the first 3 rounds, and they felt that the P2s, even though they should be better suited to this sort of racetrack configuration here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, they just felt that still really hard to race. The DP seem to have a significant straight line advantage, giving them a little less restrictor. I think what's giving them today, Dorsey, is maybe a bit better fuel mileage. So there's always 2 sides to a coin.
Yeah, for sure. The word on the street, that's about 10 to 11 horsepower. It has increased the fuel mileage, which is a different type of advantage.
If you ask these series, they say 10 to 14 horsepower. You ask the engine builder, it says, oh, it's 30. It's killing us.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's part of the equation, is the type of racetracks they run in the TUDOR Championship. What a variety. Next up on the schedule will be the temporary circuit on Belle Isle for the Detroit Grand Prix later on.
Look at this. This is our GT leader. He gets passed by the Action Express car there, going into 6. Force him wide in the grade, loses grip. Garcia through in a flash. Can they get 2 in a row?
Yeah, baby.
That's Jan Magnussen urging his teammate on.
Now,
I think that might have been Binks.
That was Danny Binks down in the pits who watched that.
Talking to Garcia?
Yeah, I think so.
That was Danny screaming.
I'll tell you what, it's amazing with the team. I mean, for so many years, the 4 cars seem to hold the sway within that group in terms of winning championships. And boy, oh boy, the 3 cars really started to turn things around. Won the championship last year, lead the championship right now. Maybe another win here today.
Now we got a race, guys. Johannes van Overbeek.
Yeah.
Overbeek has caught Jordan Taylor, and he's actually the faster of the 2 cars right now. There's no doubt about that. Whether he can find a way by, now that he's caught up, I'm not sure.
And this is where they're quick. We saw with Valiante and Yackerman earlier in the race. This second half of the lap is where the P2 is really quick through these high-speed corners. Low-speed mechanical. Ricky Taylor said they seem to be pretty strong, so we'll have to see what Jordan Taylor can do to fend off Johannes van Overbeek. And he has really done a tremendous job. Put this car on the pole, jumped in the car for about 20 minutes. Has just really got the car right in the thick of the battle for the lead.
Johannes sounded like he was short shifting. Listen to this on the shift, upshift.
talked about his fueling mileage situation. With 48 minutes on the last stint, he pitted with about 50 plus to go. So he's probably got to conserve fuel a little bit. We keep talking about the DPs. Maybe he's probably in fuel conservation mode as well, even though he's going for the win.
And he knows his teammate has already dropped out with a broken gearbox.
Well, he came out 11. He went through the gears. It sounded to me like he was rubbing low. You know, not very high RPM.
Well, we saw the Delta Wing head for the pit lane. Brian is with driver Andy Merrick.
Well, we talked about development programs early on. We talked about the Mazda, but now let's talk Delta Wing. Andy, I know this team tested a week or so ago in Savannah. They found some improved aerodynamics, but that doesn't help a gearbox failure. That's what you guys had today. Is the car getting better each weekend?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, you know, obviously we've started from the back of the grid today. We started from pit lane, in fact. So to get back up to the position we were shows that we've got true pace in the car now. Extremely disappointed, I have to say, about not being able to finish, because it was very promising. So yeah, gearbox failures put us out. We have to look at the cause and the reason, but we keep getting stronger. But that was a tough one to take today.
Such a unique car. You bring it to a racetrack like this where everybody complains about low grip. Does that design help a little bit?
I don't know. I mean, we're very good on the tyres, and that, I think, here everybody's really struggling for grip at this Mazda Raceway. So we're not too bad. I mean, I would think the main pace and performance gains that we found this weekend have come from the improvements in the aerodynamics, as you say, from the test. So it's step by step, and we're good.
Thanks, Andy. We got to go.
Jordan
Sounds like
Taylor's
a pass for the lead, guys.
or something, guys.
Yeah, we've got an issue on the racetrack. You saw the lead change. Johannes van Overbeek goes to the front. Jordan Taylor starts exploring what's wrong with the car.
Well, either that or he got wide there. He got out in the dust. If he was just trying to clean the tires off, but he certainly lost a lot of ground there. So Johannes was on the charge, got inside him, and made a pretty easy move there. And Jordan immediately was trying to weave around, try and feel what's going on with the race car.
Yeah, Jordan went wide. He got out in the dirty part. He might have picked up some stuff on the tires, or he might have had a bit of a puncture, which put him out there. Either event, he knew right away he was in trouble. And he started trying to feel the car out, moving the car back and forth on the racetrack, trying to analyze his problem.
That's a big margin to pull in half a lap that Johannes van Overbeek now has over second place runner now, Jordan Taylor.
Saw that all going down. 142, that's a big number, biggest number I've seen on the board today.
That's a great touch, having those radar guns on top of the walkover bridges so fans can tell how fast the cars are going by. And it is fast. Back to Brian.
Just ran down and checked with Wayne Taylor and Ricky Taylor. They said Jordan just got some pickup on his tires, something that we've talked about throughout this weekend. You get offline, the sand, not even so much the rubber here, but the sand gets on your tires. It's going to take you a lap or two to get that good grip back, and that's what Jordan Taylor's dealing with right now in the 10.
Yeah, he got wide there coming out of turn 2, and then we're looking at it from the onboard replay of the action. He's struggling for grip here as he comes off of 3. Johannes just gets the power down. A pretty easy pass there, and immediately after this is when Jordan started to weave around, try to clean that rubber back off again.
He knew he was in trouble right away. The back of the car just stepping out. Couldn't do a thing with it.
What a day potentially here for Team Patron and Ed Brown. We talked about him being in a pressure cooker situation, sitting on the pole position with not the experience of that hungry pack around him. He dealt with those opening laps superbly. Turned it over to Johannes van Overbeek, and he's done a brilliant job here all weekend.
Yeah, it felt like turn 2 had oil down or something, and I was sliding all over the place. But it must have been pickup. Sorry.
Now it'll be Jordan Taylor's turn to deal with slower traffic. We'll take another break. You won't miss a thing. We'll be back in a moment with more Continental Tire Monterey Grand Prix, powered by Mazda, live from Monterey, California. The new season of The Ultimate Fighter has begun, and it's not too late for you to get caught up in what critics are calling the best season yet. Don't miss an all-new Ultimate Fighter this Wednesday at 10 Eastern on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Back on board the number 70 Mazda prototype, the turbo diesel, incorporating all sorts of cool technology. A sequential dual turbo system. Low-speed turbo leading directly into a high-speed turbo, and producing enormous torque from a 4-cylinder diesel.
A great battle here for second place in GTLM. Fisichella continues to hold on. Nick Tandy There's probably, look in the background, the two BMWs. Bill Auberlen has been on a charge. He got that fresh rubber with about 30 minutes to go. He has been really laying down some quick ones. A 123.1. That's about 9/10 quicker than our current leader in class. The big problem he has right now is A, dealing with that prototype traffic sliding its way through, but also his teammate is right in front of him. There's been some radio communication between he and Bobby Rahal. And I think as the championship leader, they may get the wave by if he gets on the tail of Dirk Mueller in the white BMW right there that we're looking at.
Boy, Bill let that pass happen really easy. You must have heard on the radio that Johannes was coming.
Yep.
I didn't think he had enough time to get to the leaders, but his pace is phenomenal when he's pulling 3/4 of a second and more on the leaders.
This is probably
right
the last
now.
thing he wants to see.
Yeah, his progress is being stymied here a little bit.
Of course, it's going to catch up with his team car, too.
On board the number 3, let's listen.
Are we leading? Yes, we are P1. I assume you do that.
I like that's concentration when you're out there in the office doing the best you can. You're not even sure you're winning or not.
Well, he might have come down the hill and said, well, I don't see anybody ahead of me. Should I ask?
Garcia's really been on form this year. I mean, all of those Corvette factory guys are the best in the business, but you just have a seasons, Dorsey, where you're just really in your sweet spot and just makes a difference at this level.
Oh, big lockup.
Wow, big lockup is right.
This is the 9th. This is how hard this battle is. You got Pat Long and Jonathan Bomarito, a local expert here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, duking it out for 9th place.
Two California boys just having some fun in a pair of factory race cars.
Like that Bill Auberlen story, he's chopped about 10 seconds out of the lead of Garcia, but he still sits back there in 5th.
Got those new tires, so he should be fast. Plus, he said in the pit stop, let me know when I can let this thing burn. So he wants to go. And Bill can definitely do that. We know. You take the collar off him, he can go.
Roger Auberlen closing in again on his teammate.
Yeah, Bobby Rahal's got a decision to make. That's the championship leader. If he does have more pace, he may be the best shot that the BMWs have of getting on the podium here today to let him go. Dirk Mueller's been fast here all weekend long, got a lot more miles on his tires right now in front.
If he's going to let him by, this is a great place to do it without losing too much.
Battle for 9th on the left of your screen, battle for 4th on the right. Yeah, I think Dirk's just letting him go there.
Yeah, he is. He took the order, moved over, moved off line.
No dishonor in that.
Kennedy's got around Fisichella. That Ferrari is right in front of Bill Auberlen now for a podium spot.
Now we're hearing that that Dirk Mueller in the 56 car is going to get a penalty for contact with the number 4 Corvette. Let's see if we can figure out what happened.
Go down into turn 2. Tucks it to the inside. He comes back over on the line.
And you know what? It looked like he just pushed out and contacted that left rear of the 4, but it definitely turned the 4 around.
I mean, the Corvette couldn't hug the inside of the apex there. Certainly Dirk Mueller had the ability to, but that kind of burned him as Ollie came back down on line. Some people had a different line through there. Yeah, you let it wash up in the middle and cut it back down. I don't think Mueller was anticipating Ollie Gavin making that move.
If you take that classic double apex, it leaves the inside of the corner open for a move like that.
This is a killer. Look at this.
The 56.
Auberlen to the inside of Fisichella. Can't quite make it stick.
But he will make it stick in a minute. I would be expecting up here in turn 1 possibly.
This is for the final spot on the podium with 5 minutes to go.
On board with Auberlen.
Not close enough to get him here.
Oh, a little bit of a wander there from the Ferrari.
Made up a ton of room in the center there.
Remember, the tires on this BMW are much fresher than the Ferrari. We talked about fuel mileage. Oh, one can't make it, can the others? They pit a little bit earlier than the number 10, for example, so different power plant as well. The Ford power plant couldn't make it that long stretch. They were anticipating yellow, didn't get help.
Pruitt able to get in and out, still in 3rd place.
Oh, Fisichella's trying to go defensive there. Auberlen will try to run up the hill. He's got it.
He's right on now. This is going to be tight. Auberlen's going to force the issue. I'll guarantee you into the brake zone here. Fresher tires. Fisichella tries to take it in, can't make it work.
Now, there was no way that wasn't going to happen. Fisichella dropped those wheels on the outside, had to get out of the throttle a little bit.
Remember what happened earlier, Dorsey, with Tandy as well when he lost position.
Nice shot, Bill. There. We're to hang
You let Bill put that nose in on you, buddy. That's all over for you.
It's a great drive by Bill Auberlen. He was frustrated after that pit stop, said, you got to give me more information, but he's got his head down. As Bobby Rahal likes to say, focus forward.
Saw the number panel, number 4 in red when he crosses the line. It'll become number 3, and his next target will be Nick Tandy, who is just about a second up the road ahead of him.
And that seems like a lot, but I don't think so. I think right now that Auberlen's got the pace to run to the second down. He's got a lap and a half to do it.
Yep.
This is a good battle also. Still going on.
Bomarito trailing long.
These last couple laps, Calvin, lots of stuff can happen. Here's how close that was up there.
There's a little rub there. That's just good racing.
Yep.
Bill's got the inside line. He's got more grip from the fresher rubber.
Boy, he was able
no
to
problem.
make that corner.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's just grip. That's just grip at this stage of the race.
That is grip.
Didn't even put 4 off or 2 off.
Fisichella knew better than to turn down on him too. It wasn't going to happen.
Great racing, but I think we're all pulling for Risi a little bit. We'd love to see that team get a podium.
Yeah, we would.
Maybe not today.
Less than 3 minutes to go now.
Just to come away with a car would be nice. Here's a good move. Watch this.
Bomarito trying to get around the 912. What's going on with the 911, Brian?
Listening to the radio, heard Nick Tandy call in and say, who's in the 56? Oh, and there's contact between Auberlen and Tandy coming onto the front straight.
Now he knows who's in it.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, he made up that second in a hurry, didn't Bill?
I knew he would.
Now he's lost a bit of ground, so whatever he tried didn't work.
Well, let's see how the 911, currently second in GTLM, got around the 62 of Giancarlo Fisichella. Down the corkscrew into turn 9.
Oh, that's a hard place to take a hit.
Oh, boy.
Wow, and he didn't give many room on the exit either. Watch this.
This, I think, will draw a penalty. He ran him off there.
Well, we'll
see. Rub, but he used all of the road, but the Ferrari was no longer there. Here we're looking at the crew from the number 3 car that currently leads. Looking pretty happy with themselves. 4-second lead on Nick Tandy.
They're pleased.
He's under pressure from Auberlen.
They're going to have one time to go around, one more when they get down there.
Brian?
I was saying that Nick Tandy had called in on the radio and said, who's in the 56? And they said, well, that was Dirk Mueller, but the 55 is behind you. And there was a very surprised reply on the radio. Is that for position? They said, yes, it's for position, Nick. And then 3 or 4 turns later, the contact in turn 11. Bill Auberlen is flying. It'll be interesting to see if he can catch back up to the Porsche.
Oh, he's right there, Brian. You're going to see it as he comes on the front straightaway. Oh, look at this. Tandy gives him no room. He's over in the AstroTurf. He can't get grip there.
He got pushed over there a little bit, too. This is the last lap. This is going to get ugly right here.
Yep, here we go. One more lap of Mazda Raceway.
We're writing it up again.
Big question is going to be, where is the overall leader? Where is the prototype leader, Johannes van Overbeek? If he's further around this lap, maybe these guys will get one extra, being the second class out here.
Be nice, wouldn't it? I can see this going a little longer.
Nice for Auberlen, not nice for Tandy.
Yeah, that's true. Depends on which car you're in.
I think Auberlen's going to have another go at him. I think he's just got more grip at this stage of the game.
Nah, he's not close enough for 5. He might make that run at the top of the hill. He's going to try for it.
There's a tap. Love tap there.
I'm right here.
So much experience, Bill Auberlen. He's got to think this through. Get a good clean run here on the power early.
Maintain the podium here, Pete.
Meanwhile, up front, there's Johannes van Overbeek. This will be the day when the former P2 category comes through to pick up its first victory. Extreme Speed Motorsports and their Honda will take the win.
Great job by Ed Brown. This is the battle.
He's got one corner, Cal. You know what's going to happen down here?
Oh, boy.
He's going to go for it. Tandy defends. Auberlen rubs him. Auberlen rubs him. He's through.
And gets through.
I want to see that again from the other end.
Meanwhile, up ahead, Antonio Garcia makes it
Good flag. Good
2
job,
straight
Bill.
victories
Way
for
to keep it clean. Way to do it.
with his
Great job,
teammate
Pete.
Jan Magnussen.
I love it. The radio communication. Way to keep it clean.
They're under review. They're reviewing that pass right now, and we didn't get to see it because the wall was in the way. But
good hard racing.
I know there was contact there.
Yeah, there was definitely contact. Tandy didn't get near the apex.
This ought to be
Here's what I want to see. We cut away from it, but it's going to be right.
Tandy defends the inside line. Oberlin goes
There's
back.
the rub. Yeah, they definitely got together.
Bit of bulldozer action there.
Actually, it happened already.
Yeah, the tap was all he needed to get under. And he comes through to take a provisional second place. Does Bill Oberlin for BMW. Meanwhile, the Corvette boys enjoying the moment. 2 straight in GTLM. We'll be back to Monterey. Welcome back to Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. Back on April 12th, a caution-free race on the streets of Long Beach, California. Today, here at Mazda Raceway, yet another caution-free race, but boy, was there a lot of contact. Let's begin to wrap things up now down at Victory Lane with Jamie Howe.
Johannes van Overbeek's been so busy celebrating just getting the helmet off. Johannes, that was quite a drive you guys had today. Winning for P2 for the first time in the new United Series. What does this one mean?
I'm trying to absorb it all. First overall win. Hat's really off to Ed. He put us in a position to be here, both as a CEO of Patron and as a driver. How about that first stint? We talked before, and Ed did exactly what he had to do. Things went our way today, and I couldn't be happier for Patron and ESM.
Ed, this has been a long time coming for you personally. What does this one mean to you?
Oh, it's everything. It's we work really hard, and it's intimidating out there, and it's just I started having fun by the second lap out there, and I knew we were in a really good position, and I know I got the fastest guy out there on this track, so I just wanted to give him a good car and see what happens. So this is awesome.
I'm willing to bet you guys are going to have fun tonight too. Congratulations.
Congratulations
margaritas, maybe.
And they even brought their beverages. Time for our Audi move of the race, and it was the race-winning move as Johannes van Overbeek, who had a heck of a day putting this car on pole and making this pass on Jordan Taylor.
Simply perfect.
I think it was going to happen. If it didn't happen this way, it was still going to happen because Overbeek was really coming.
He was really quick, Dorsey, and Jordan was just struggling for grip a little bit. Got a little bit wide coming out of 2, got some marbles on the tires. Didn't have the grip to defend, and a good points day for him, though, finishing on the podium once again.
Here are our BMW race results. Brown and Van Overbeek in what is technically the Honda HPD ARX 03B.
And look at Pruitt. He gets a third out of it. The guy never gives up.
That was with the stop for a splash, remember. They had to pit and top him up towards the end.
Fittipaldi and Barbosa, points leaders coming in 4th place. Now the GTLM category brought to you by BMW. Second straight win for Magnussen and Garcia, and they divided the hard work. Both men took a pole in that 2-race run of success. Both men can take pride in the victory. Prix and Oberlin, Leitz and Tandy, well, we'll have to wait to hear more. Here's Brian.
Jan Magnussen and Antonio Garcia should be very proud of this one. 2 in a row, like you said, Bob. But Antonio, 15 minutes left in the race, and I had my scanner on. I think the guys heard it up top. Am I leading? You weren't serious. You had to know you were up front.
I wanted to make it sure. I mean, basically, I didn't want it to be still saving the tires or something, and then all of a sudden somebody coming on the radio, so you're P2, it's like, and then lost the opportunity. So, but yeah, I think Corvette Racing again did a fantastic job. C7R was perfect. I mean, not only pole position yesterday, I saw just Jan at the beginning, or everybody struggling a lot with the tires. So as soon as I had the Ferrari in front of me, it was all about saving the tires, basically. I knew the opportunity would come maybe, and if it had, I had to have the best tires out there. So it really paid off for sure. So
it paid off for sure. This is really kind of what started their championship run last year. It could be a premonition of things to come, Bob.
No surprise there, given all that Corvette racing team has accomplished over the years. New history being written every race weekend in the TUDOR United SportsCar Championship. We'll take another break and return to Monterey. Back at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, as you can see, podium ceremonies about to begin down in the paddock area. Right now, let's go once again to Jamie Howe.
Well, that GTLM finish is still under review for this podium positions, but Bill Oberlin, it's not often we see you get aggressive out there. What was going on?
It's not often I get aggressive. I drive clean. I always drive clean. So to get doored twice by, the Porsche, that's kind of disappointing. Great racing, great strategy from my guys to minimize the tire losses. Andy saved so much fuel. I thought he was making fuel in the car in the first hit, and he was running the pace of the leaders. Amazing job. We hopefully keep the lead, extend the lead in the championship. This is what the two of us are setting out to do, is to win this thing.
Thank you. Brian?
Well, there's two sides to every story, Jamie, and I've got the other side over here. Nick Tandy obviously waiting for that call from race control as well. See what the final outcome is going to be. Those last 3 laps were spectacular, and I know the last one didn't end the way you wanted it to, Nick. What did it look like from your seat?
No, I mean, it didn't end the way I wanted it to. I didn't expect quite such a big push in the last corner, but it was a good race. We were having a good race. I knew that Bill was coming. I knew that his car was on much fresher tires, so he was going to be quicker. And I was preparing for it. And to be fair, I thought I was driving defensively, but fairly enough. And I knew it was going to come down to that last corner. We got there, and I defended the inside line, and there was only one way around. That should have been the outside, but he came through the back of us. Luckily, the Porsche's got strong. It's got a strong rear end on it, so we managed to keep it all together. Get a podium. It's happy enough. But, we know how the season's going to go from now on.
Yeah, Nick told me earlier, he said, I've made a note in my notebook. I know how we're going to play from here on out. Bob?
Well, we're still waiting to hear from race control. The incident is still officially under investigation. If we can't get you the results before we leave the air, be sure to go to foxsports.com/motor or IMSA.com for the details of the decision. Right now, here are the unofficial standings in prototype.
Well, Barbosa and Fittipaldi recovered nicely here with a 4th place finish. They maintain the lead in the championship. Really tight behind them. These are really the protagonists we're going to expect to see all season long. And finally, that P2 car, Johannes van Overbeek and Ed Brandorsi, get that first P2 win. They're only 14 points back.
That's so important. You look at these points as well. Very tight, 4 down, Nick Tandy. And we just heard that that's going to go on going forward. So that should be a lot of fun as well.
Well, that's probably a reason. That would have probably reversed those positions possibly with a change of position in the race. So we'll have to wait and see.
It'll be a while before we see the GT Le Mans class back in action. Probably Watkins Glen on June 29th. The prototypes and the GTD category will run at Belle Isle on May 31st. Once again, here's Jamie.
Well, up on victory lane now, Jordan Taylor, Ricky Taylor finished 2nd today. Jordan, what did you guys need to be able to get around to get the victory?
I think it was as good as we could have done. We knew coming in here the P2s would have been strong, so going on that outlap, I knew the outlap is where the P2s struggled, and we had to make the most of it, and we made a move around the 90 and the 5 and got the lead, and were able to stretch it. But as soon as we made that last stop, we were saving fuel all the way to the end, and I think we were the only Daytona prototype to do that. So I think we should be happy. 2nd place here and good points for the rest of the season.
Yep, good solid run. Congrats.
And congratulations to Johannes van Overbeek, Ed Brown, and Extreme Speed Motorsports. We'll be on our way next to Detroit and Belle Isle. It's been a great weekend here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. We hope you saw both of the races live here on Fox Sports 1 today. For now, for Calvin Fish, Dorsey Schrader, Jamie Howe, and Brian Till, I'm Bob Varsha. We'll see you next from Detroit. Until then, so long from Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca in Monterey, California.